Welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Terran where we find ourselves on a light shade. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner, I'm playing with the red Zerg drones from South Korea. We have none other than Armani. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran SCVs, likewise also from Korea, we have Dream. Alrighty, so both of these guys actually, I was just looking at their Wikipedia pages for a little bit. They both tell a very similar story. So when it comes to high-level StarCraft 2, both of them have been playing for a very long time, and they have both always pretty much been right below the tippity top of the skill level. Now, when you're right below the tippity top of the skill level, it's very difficult to make a name for yourself, but both of them are ridiculously good. So both of them have had high-end finishes in the GSL Code S. They have both taken a break from StarCraft 2 in 2017 to fulfill their mandatory military service that every single Korean, I think every single Korean man has, I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, they have both already done the mandatory military service, and as of me making this video, they're both 24 years old. Now, because of that, what are they saying, dude? It's like, Mom, I got a 200-word essay due on Monday. Can I write it in StarCraft 2 instead? I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't speak Korean. I know what this is, though. That's laughing. That's laughing. Yep, I recognize that. That's like the Korean version of LOL. Maybe someone in the comment section down below could go ahead and translate. And at the very least, give us the gist of what they're talking about. Anyhow, so what was I saying? Right, so both of them, 24 years old. Both of them have done their mandatory military service in 2017. Both of them have had very high GSL Code S finishes, which is one of the hardest tournaments in all of StarCraft 2, if not the hardest. And both of them are extremely good at StarCraft. Now, it seems in StarCraft 2, and I don't really know too much about Korean culture, but it seems in StarCraft 2, when you're doing really well, you delay your mandatory military service as long as possible, right? However, is that, like, I'm wondering, maybe someone from Korea is watching. Is that normal? Because I wouldn't be surprised at all if Dream and Armani are taking the more, quote-unquote, conventional route, where, you know, they did it at, like, I think, like, 21 years old, 20 years old? I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually a little bit more standard. Because a lot of the top-level players that I've been casting for many years, they're going to have to do their mandatory military service here at some point in the future. Now, I think that's a drone kill. Yep, nicely done. Good work here by Dream. Must kind of suck, though, man. I'm just glad that in the Netherlands we don't really have something like that anymore. I would not like if I, you know, were to be forced to go to the military now. Kind of sucks. Especially if you're on the top of your game, right? And you're earning a lot of money for playing StarCraft, for example, or I guess literally anything else. Being forced to take like a 1.5 year long break is not ideal. Anyhow. So far, pretty good game here by Dream, though. Got himself a drone kill. Can't really complain about that. He's decided to go for a very quick third command center too, which is awesome. I'm a big fan of that build, as you probably know. This has actually become a little bit less popular recently in StarCraft 2. It seems like a lot of the Koreans right now are going... Ooh, there you go. Nice. Gets a drone kill, gets out of there, and also grabs the creep tumor. Good work. This seems to have fallen out of favor just a tad. A lot of the highly ranked players have been going for Banshee pushes again, and a lot of Hellbat shenanigans as well. That may very well actually be the reason why Armani is going for that Overlord speed upgrade, so he can figure out exactly what it is that the Terran player is going to be going for. Banshee does start up here actually for Dream. Alrighty, so here's that Overlord coming in. Oh, he actually cancels the Banshee. Goes for a Viking instead. But he does start up the little green light right over there in the tech lab. I love that. So what he's trying to do right now is force a couple Spore Crawlers out of Armani. Now, I think Armani saw the green light start in the tech lab, so he probably realizes that this is going to be fake. But basically what you do is you start up a research and then you cancel it again when the Overlord Scout is gone. So he went for a Banshee, then saw the Overlord speed, canceled the Banshee, went for the Cloaking Field upgrade and started a Viking. There's some 700 IQ play already going on, because the Banshee wouldn't really get a whole lot of work done if it's scouted like that, but you still want your opponent to think that you're gonna go for a Banshee. Anyway, regardless, the Viking is out, so at this point Armani will know exactly what's going on. But he's going to lose a couple Overlords in the process. Alrighty. It's going to be a quick lair right now as a follow-up as well for Armani. And he decided to go for the Bailing Nest at a pretty early time as well, so he can start up that Bailing Speed upgrade. There's 7 Hellions in total at this point, which is actually a little more than we usually see. Most of the time, you need a couple more Zerglings than this against that. He's got 10 links. Yeah, normally we see like 20 or so links at this point. Or an extra round of queens. Because there's only... Well, there's 6 queens. Never mind. I thought maybe he had 5. Ooh. This is actually really tricky right now. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, you can just go in. Just go. Nicely done. How many drones can he kill, though, in total here? That's the real question. Gets quite a few already, man. That's like half a mineral line worth. Obviously, the downside is that he's going to end up losing all of those Hellions. You can see as well right now, Armani knows that, so he's not over-making Zerglings. A lot of lower-ranked Zerg players would freak out right now and spend all of their larvae on links, and then you're sitting there with like 30 Zerglings for no apparent reason, but he only made like 6 and then already droned up once again. And this is where I know Terran players get pretty salty, right? They're like, okay, I just killed like 12 drones in this game, and Zerg just goes 4 SD, and then they have drones again. What do you want me to do? Obviously, though, this is still a very good position for Dream to be in, but since he did lose those Hellions, he's not going to really put on any pressure here for the next minute or two. So Armani can get done whatever he likes. Decides to go for the 4th base here, decides to go for the +1/+1 upgrades. No Spire yet. He's only on 5 gases, so probably a Hydra then as a follow-up here. In the meantime, though, on the side of the Terran player, he can go for a push when 1-1 finishes, but most of the time that's just a little bit of drop harassment. He does start up a couple of siege tanks, which I like quite a bit. Usually you do need at least a couple of those. Just to, like, not die to stupid Zerg pushes. Well, this is a... Ooh, very efficient scan, actually. Ooh, that's like 6 creep tumors. Can I get 7? I think it was 5 or 6. That's a lot. Yeah, nicely done. A Dropper Lord is coming up right now, actually, as well, for Armani. And he's morphing in a couple of Banelings. Okay, so I love this. Whenever you go for that early Overlord speed upgrade, you may as well make use of it once you arrive at Lairtech, right? So he's going to go for a Baneling drop, and I think he's going to be heading towards the opponent's natural expansion. Especially at this point in the game, it's usually when Terrans get very active with their Medivacs out on the map. There is a Hydra then, by the way, as a follow-up. 4th base is going to finish up. 69 drones at this point for Armani. That is pretty nice. Now let's look at these Banelings. Ooh, Dream, are you paying attention? He is paying attention. Very, very, very important. This is while he was dropping with the Medivac as well, though. Nicely done right here by Dream. Manages to deflect that. Now, that's one of those game ender moves, right? That's one of those skill checks. If you're not paying attention there, you just lose half a mineral line worth as Terran. I mean, I know we just saw Zerg losing half a mineral line worth and he remade those instantly, but for Terran, I mean, that was a very expensive set of units to lose, and for Zerg, I mean, losing 4 Banelings is just like, whatever, right? You lose those all day, every day. Losing a mineral line worth there would have probably been a game-ending push. Or at least it could lead to one a little while later. Now, he's already going to go for the 2nd factory, which I really, really like. Going double factory siege tank production against someone who's going Hydras is fantastic. Banelings, obviously, do take a lot of damage from siege tanks. Usually, though, against NYDUS, you will go for Widow Mines instead. Nice little bit of multitasking here from Dream, though, right? So you can see how good he is at just not dying. It's one of the skills that a lot of Zerg players will need. At the same time, though, the Banelings over here, is he paying attention to those? He is! Does end up losing a couple, but not as many as that could have been. I actually really like the way that he's been cleaning up the creep so far, yeah. This base is going to be hard to acquire. Pushing up the ramp over here for Zerg is going to be tricky as well. That's not enough Zerglings. Is it? Maybe it is. Well, now it certainly is. Alrighty. Sensor tower coming up right here on the side of the Terran player. So he's going to be able to figure out on that minimap very shortly if there are little blips on the radar. So you can see there the dotted line. And there you go. A couple exclamation points indicate that a few Zerglings are running by that location. 2 Medivacs filled with units. Heading on over towards either the 4th base or the main. Infestation pit is rather late. So that does mean that Zerg is not going to be able to transition towards a hive that early on. Yeah, good position actually for Dream for sure. I mean, it's pretty even, but a lot of Terran players can struggle to get into this position here in the first place. Here's another attempted Baneling roll by. Medivac drop over here. You can see the multitasking here is really what both players are trying to win games with, right? They're really trying to make sure that the opponent is not going to be able to look at every single location on the map, but so far, it's been a clean game. Like, if you or me would be playing against them, unless you're a very highly ranked player, you probably would get wrecked. at some point by one of those things, right? It's very easy to accidentally make a mistake. Now, the reason why I like this for Dream is because he's constantly pushing back the creep. And Zerg expanding past the 5th base, so these 5 bases here initially on this map, are relatively easy to acquire. The 6th, I mean, where are you going to take that? Over in that corner? Over here? It's very tricky for a Zerg to get into those positions. And considering Terran is now already going up to his own 4th base, I mean, if we're having 4-base Terran versus 5-base Zerg, that's pretty good for Terran. And then if Zerg can't expand towards the 6th, and Terran can expand, say, for example, towards the 5th over there, it's a good position to be in general. Is he going to be able to even grab the hatch? Oh, he could. There you go. Nicely done. Hive is going to finish up shortly, though, and so will that Lurker Den. Lurker Den is fantastic, of course. But it does create a bit of a slower Zerg approach. So it indicates at the very least to me that Dream is not likely to start pushing across the map that aggressively. Maybe with a couple Lings and Banes and stuff, maybe some Hydras in there, but not with Lurkers at the very least. Until he gets both Vipers out, as well as both of those Lurker Den upgrades. So this gives Terran quite a lot of breathing room. There's the Vipers. There's the first upgrade. +3/+3 starts up here for Dream as well, about a third of the way done. He can definitely go for a push when that finishes up, but I think he's going to be met with a couple of... Ooh, really? No! That's way too many siege tanks. Yeah, I don't like this push. I don't think he expected that many tanks. There's even 2 more rolling down. That was not a good trade. At the same time, there is a bit of a hit squad over here as well down south. Questionable engagement right there by Armani, but I think he didn't realize that there were so many tanks. Yeah, you can't push in here with Hydra Lingbane. It's just not going to happen. You need Vipers with that. So I think what I was going to try and say, once 3-3 finishes, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dream go for a big push. However, he's going to find that he's going to go up against Lurkers. Now, I like this. Okay. What I'm secretly hoping for here is that we're going to be seeing Lurkers and NYDUS Worms. I've seen some very successful games where Zerg players decide to, like, put a NYDUS inside of the main base. And if you can then put the Lurkers close, you know, on the ramp and they can attack that, it's insane. It's really difficult for a Terran player to get in there if they don't already have a whole bunch of Ghosts or Liberators available. So this is one of those pushes that can deal an awful lot of damage. I mean, assuming he's going to head for the main base. He doesn't need to. Yeah, you can see, though, Zerg is struggling right now to grab another base. Where are you going to expand? You need to expand over there, but the creep threat is just not in that area yet. So that's a bit of a gamble. Relatively easy for the Terran players to start engaging over there. So, here's the first Lurkers, 9 of them. There's a Ghost Academy coming up right now as well for Dream. So he's going to be able to transition towards the enhanced shockwaves here very shortly to help with those Vipers. I mean, Lurkers don't mess around, though. If you can just walk forward and just burrow over here, they can basically kill everything. Yeah, and since Zerg is right now threatening the right-hand side as well of the map, all of those siege tanks are distracted. That's just a distraction push, though, because all of the Lurkers have just moved forward. And that... Look at the planetary. That planetary is toast. Does lose like 4 or 5 Lurkers there in the process, I think. Actually, no, he had 9. So he lost a little more than that. 86 Zerglings right now as a reinforcement here. That was a nice kill, but I mean, there's already a new command center coming up right away. It's like the mythological Hydra, you know? You kill 1 command center and 3 more appear. Or 2 more appear. Alrighty, so a lot of skill checks so far in this game. Neither player really crumbling under the pressure yet. So there's that 5th command center taken, though. And now we're talking like 5-base Terran versus essentially 5-base Zerg. NYDUS Worm inside of the main base. Lurkers are inside of the Worm as well. Immediately we see a big counterattack here with Lings and Banes and Vipers. I love that. All of those siege tanks will be cleaned up. That base certainly will go down as well. And is he actually paying attention? Dream, that is, because there's Lurkers inside of his main base. How is he going to get rid of those? If you're on top of the production, yeah, those Ghosts will get killed real quick. Lurker over here, or sorry, a NYDUS Worm over here as well. I love this push. This is like a relatively new thing in Zerg versus Terran. It's a lot of siege tanks though, so he decides to just get out of there. I feel like he could have maybe stuck around for a little while longer, but I love the fact that he's doing a big 1-2 punch while Terran is scrambling to get back into the main base. He's getting a lot of kills with those Zerglings as well. Still though, once again, good defense there by Dream, all things considered. I mean, he lost the CC over there, but he's got another command center finished up. Yeah, I don't mind this. I wonder if you should do these kind of things as Zerg off of 100 drones instead of 85. Like, I'm trying to think, what would, like, a Raynor do in this scenario? I think Raynor actually has the best ZVT in the world, or at least he had to, or he had it at some point. Like, he's looking ridiculous in this matchup. It's always a little hard to say, but I think Reina will probably be sitting at about 100 workers here. Because these are not efficient trades, right? Like, that's one of the things you got to keep in mind. Zerk is going to end up losing quite a lot of stuff here as the game progresses. So you kind of rely on outmining the Terran player. He's still outmining him, though. What about 20 workers? Oh, here we go. Big push once again. Since he's been constantly attacking all over the map, there's a lot of army dedicated right now down south. Another lurker then goes up in... Or, sorry, another infestation. No, what is it called? You get what I'm trying to talk about. NYDUS worm. There it is. Another NYDUS worm goes up inside of the main base. What's going to pop out of this one? Nothing. Aha! Got him. That's actually not bad at all, though. Because, like, imagine if the Terran player would have freaked out here and sent all of the units into the main base. Then all of a sudden, yeah. It's actually pretty clever. Since the NYDUS worm has so much potential, there's definitely a chance that the Terran player is going to freak out and send way too much. So actually, just dedicating a siege tank and a couple ghosts inside of the main base here at the cost of like 75 minerals, 75 gas. Yeah. Ooh, that's cool. I haven't really seen that before. Huh. Using the NYDUS worms actually to get some on-the-fly energy right there for those Vipers. Really nice. Now they're going to be able to cast their blinding clouds. A lot of siege tanks are being killed, but the siege tanks are firing quite a bit too. That tank over there has got 25 kills as it goes down. Another tank gets abducted. Man, these traits are so good though. Like for the Terran player. Even though it feels like Armani is making the most of the army that he's got, I see a lot of Zerk units dying in the grand scheme of things as well. Yeah, so the Zerk bases are starting to run low. Needs another hatchery here very soon. I feel like he should even consider double expending. Supply count actually pretty much dead even here. Huh. Sick game. Really cool. Okay, so 10 more lurkers coming up. You can see though how desperate Zerk players are getting right now to prevent the game from going into the later stages. And Dream is like, okay, yeah, no, you go ahead. Zerk isn't uncomfortable necessarily playing the late game, but it's harder than it used to be. I gotta say though, even though I'm a Zerk player myself, and it's been kind of hard to win in the late game, it does create some fantastic StarCraft matches. Like, Zerk has never been more swarmy, you know, than it is right now. Zerk is just trying to overwhelm the opponent, and this is pretty much the exact Zerk fantasy, right? It's really neat to watch. The human resistance trying their very best. Okay. Now we're talking about a near split map scenario, though. The only extra base right now that Armani has is this one. Terran is likely going to try and acquire this one over here in the bottom left-hand corner as well. The only other two bases that are available at that point is this one over here and then this one up here. It's very difficult to actually acquire those. Obviously, as this game progresses, players are expanding closer and closer to each other. Yeah, Armani is trying to make his opponent freak out, but so far it's not working. Calm and collected. Dream has a dream of killing lurkers. Oof. The snipes are insanely good as well. Does kill the planetary fortress though, but loses a lot of units there in the process. Like this. Going into the fusion core upgrades. He's going to be able to go for the Liberator ranged upgrade, which is fantastic. At this point, there's been little counter actually available for the Liberators. I mean, the abductions obviously can be used as well. So Hydra... Like, Hydra Viper Lurker is fantastic. It's probably the best unit composition that you can play in the late game, but it's shaky, right? It's shaky. Because, like... Oh, God. Okay. Oh, was he actually hold position firing there? I think he was. That's actually pretty sick. Pretty sure these lurkers were on hold position and waiting for an army just like that to walk up. Anyways, the Terran army is becoming more and more sophisticated. He's got the cloaking field coming up for the ghosts. He's got the ranged upgrade, like I said, for those Liberators. This Terran army is becoming more powerful, whereas the Zerg army, I mean, yeah, he's going to finish up +3 missile, and that's nice. But this Terran army is still improving, whereas the Zerg army is a little more stagnant at this point. So what you're really relying on here as a Zerg player is to be able to remax. Now, these are not cheap armies, though. You can see the army value right now. Even though you may be looking right there at the bottom section of the screen, and you're like, okay, he's got like 2,500 resources in the bank. He cannot even remax half his army with that. Now, this is once again a nice push, though. Really, really abusing the immobility there of that Terran army. Here come the ghosts. Now, by the way, I can't help but notice, look at that. Another Ghost Academy is coming up, and a tactical nuke is being researched. We're gonna have nuclear warheads in this game very soon. Big fan. There's the pathogen glands upgrade for Armani, so that's to help out with the infestors, to give them a little bit more energy when they spawn. So infestors definitely could make a nice addition in this game. I guess actually, like, Hydra Lurker Viper is great. What about Hydra Lurker Viper Infestor? All you need is an extra hotkey. It's difficult to control, but I can imagine it's fantastic if you do it well. Because, like, one fungal growth on these ghosts and it's game over. I love the methodical pushing here, though, that Dream is going for, right? Look at how thinly he is spread out, but look at how tactically he's been positioning all of his static defense. Love the sensor towers, and I love those missile turrets and just the way that he's approaching this. Here, once again, comes wave number 74. The Zerg player moving forward, trying to get things done, but the static defense is absolutely fantastic. The ghosts actually join in for the snipes as well. Like, it seems like this is the roaming army, and then the siege tanks and the static defense, obviously, are basically in position here. Now, here's the first nuke being deployed. Gregory the Ghost. It is gonna land, but it kills nothing important. This is just, once again, to stress the multitasking, right? So nukes in 2020 don't seem to really be used as they used to be used back in like the earlier days of StarCraft, where you would cross your fingers and hope you could kill the entire army. This is just to like create more space and more time for the Terran player primarily, right? So if the Zerg player is desperately looking around like this, right? Like this is kind of how they look around, looking for the red dot. They can't actually, like, they don't see the notification on the minimap, obviously, right? So they can't really be doing all of the other harassment that they're up to as well. So yeah, I really like ghosts and nukes in general just for that reason, just to force the multitasking once again for the Zerg player and to alleviate some pressure. These two bases over here are huge. The expansion, by the way, over here in the center has been acquired. That's a difficult one to push into, but apparently, well, this is a man with a mission. Would not be surprised. Okay, I was gonna say maybe to hit a nuke over in that area instead. Maybe walk around, nuke from there. Could be done. Once again, NYDUS Worm goes up in the main base. Siege tank is right next to it, but he can't actually get a good hit in at that point. Second tactical nuke now being deployed over at the Zerg's 4th base. Is Armani gonna be paying attention to this? Yep, he will find it. Like, that's not really the problem, right? So here's that nuke from the back, actually. So another nuke has now been deployed towards the back of this... Oh my god, oh my god, no, no, no! He's looking! Oh, he can't find it! Oh, he finds it! Oh, gee. That's what I mean! If that was like 5 seconds later, right? Would have been an absolute disaster. By the way, one little pro tip for Zerg players. Don't play with the red colors. You can hit Alt plus F on the keyboard. I have found out the hard way myself that when you play with the red colors, it can be very difficult to find to find the red dot on your hatcheries. Because the dot does not change colors. So far, I mean, they've been getting a couple kills here and there, the ghost that is. But it's not really that much. It's mostly just creating a lot of time here for Dream to now secure the planetary in the bottom left. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be aiming for that base here next. Another tactical nuke being deployed, this time around to the natural. Get rid of that nasty NYDUS network. This is one of those nukes that doesn't even do anything. It just stresses the multi-attack. Ooh. Well, unless Zergs walk the entire army into it. But yeah, you can see, like, this doesn't even do that much. It doesn't really deal damage. It's just there to freak out the Zerg player and to buy time. Now, this is the final base here on the map. Since Terran has been trading more efficiently. This base cannot actually be allowed here, and Armani knows it. He's going in for a push right now, gets a couple abductions on those ghosts, really nice. Does he have enough right now, though, to kill the rest of those units? Those siege tanks shelling away from a distance, and with all the Hydras are gone. Yeah, since the Hydras are gone, the Liberators can move forward. Brilliant play right here by Dream. Man, he's got so much. I actually really like the double siege tank production. How many factories does he have at this point? No, he's still just on 2. Okay. I was wondering maybe if he added on like a 3rd one, but no, he's just been producing pretty much non-stop siege tanks the entire time. I'm assuming he's got +3. Yeah, he's got +3 vehicle attacks as well, so those siege tanks do pack a punch. Here's the planetary coming up. Actually, what? No, orbital? No, dude. Why would you go orbital here? That is so greedy. Oh, I guess he's feeling confident, huh? So now we're talking split map scenarios. Even though Armani looked like he was in tip-top shape earlier on into this game, it's getting into a situation right now where, yeah, his army is just not trading efficiently enough, right? Like, look at this. There's about 14,000 resources lost more here by the Zerg player. And I don't think that's really going to improve anytime soon. He's going into Corruptors right now, so Corruptors and Vipers, going double Spire with double upgrades. Okay, so I guess he's planning on abducting a couple of those Liberators, then maybe going to Brute Lords later. Good idea. But you gotta keep in mind that those ghosts still don't... Oh my god, really? Oh, he's just gonna go in there? Good EMP as well. Removes the energy right there of those Vipers. Lurkers have moved up as well. Imagine a freaking planetary over here, rather than that orbital command. I don't understand why there's an orbital here. I feel like the orbital would have... Yeah, okay, he can lift that one, I guess, but... Reinforcing Terran units right now coming in. Armani does still have a large bank, though. You can see Dream's bank has been completely depleted. This expansion over here is going to run out of money very quickly. Zerk is going to mine out these bases relatively soon as well. So it takes about 10 minutes for one of those expansions to run out. A little bit less for Terran because of mules. Like, once this base is mined out, that's it, right? Like, Armani is not going to have any more money. I think he's got about another 5 minutes into that, or in that base. He's been mining it for about 5. Here once again come the Lurkers for the next wave. Beautiful moves here though by Armani. Once again zoning this to the best of his abilities. Love the Corruptors added into the mix right now as well. There you go. It's really the Ghost though with those snipes that are doing extreme damage. And once again, the orbital command lands. He needs to crush this though. Like, he can't really... You can't really let Terran re-establish here all the time. Like, keep in mind, there's so many siege tanks out, right? What are these siege tanks protecting at this point? Very little. So as soon as Terran mines out the top bases, those siege tanks can cycle towards the bottom instead. Like, he doesn't need any of this. This area over here, I mean, once these minerals are gone, which is very soon, these units can be dedicated to defending this base. And what are you going to do at that point if you're Armani? Ooh, big... Oh, Muta switch. Huh. So I've seen a little bit of Muta switching in the past when Terrans get too stuck on, like, not Marines. There's obviously no Thors here in the mix either, but this feels a bit like a desperation move right now. So that's 23 Mutas, 12 Corruptors, and 2 Lurkers. With a couple of Zerglings and a couple of Hydralisks as well. Okay. Using the Corruptors right now? No, you gotta just piss on that base, dude. Go. Use your caustic spray. Actually, it's puke. Puke on that base. I'm assuming at the very least the front of the Corruptor is where the head is. Now, I like this. Look at that. Since the entirety of the Terran army, well, most of the Terran army anyway, is stuck on the bottom section of the map. These Corruptors, dude, I feel like you could have killed that base. Vipers and Mutas in one control group together with a... Ah, that's cool. Don't really see this all too often, but I guess you can abduct units quite easily as well. There you go. There you go. Get a couple of those units. Okay, well, the Vipers got sniped there. I really feel like the Corruptors could have killed this base several times already. Does he have any units available right now to defend this? Apparently it's going to be Liberators with their air-to-air damage. Oh, looks like there was a bit of a pause in the game. Eventually the base falls though, which is really neat. And I think these Liberators may be in some trouble as well. Zerglings now come up. They're not going to be able to achieve that much, but Armani still has, he's still got moves, right? So Planetary over here is gone, but I don't think you even really want to replace that. Nah, if you're going to mine that out, I think you got a long distance mine it here if you're the Terran player. Or if you're the Zerg player, actually. This base is about as close as that one. We'll see who gets the final resources over there. All of the eyes right now, though, should be right here on the bottom section of the map. Taking out any of the structures here that provide vision. But you can see right now, though, Terran, upon realizing that, wait a second, there's a lot of Mutalisks out, I'll just go back to playing good old Marines. If he adds on a Thor here as well, I mean, I don't mind that idea at all. Look at the amount of links, though. Ooh, there's actually a ton of Zerglings over here. There are a lot of Terran reinforcements, too. Apparently, the Mutas are distracting some of them as they thought about moving back towards the main base. Siege tank over here on the high ground gets a lot of kills. Another siege tank over there that's protecting the orbital command also picks up a lot of those units. Mutas trying to grab whatever they can. Ghost just barely does not complete the steady targeting, and there's the long distance mining. Yeah, Zerg is running out of stuff. This is a problem. They have 71 drones, but no minerals to mine. Like, all of the bases are mined out right now for Zerg. Except for, like, I guess the final ones over here. And Terran, I mean, they just secured new expansions. These have still a lot of resources in them. Desperation move right now towards the main base, but it looks like there is going to be enough for the Zerg player to overwhelm this. The Lings obviously won't be able to retreat, but maybe the Zerg can get to the soft underbelly of the Terran production. This is where the Terran really has their lifeline, right? So if you can kill their production, that is fantastic. Dream has been behind in the supply count for a very long time, but he's holding on with the units that he's got. No, 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 you can't fight that. Hello. Oof. At the same time, Corruptors moving over here, trying to grab a couple of those Liberators. There's a lot of Zerglings rather available too. They're going to be able to maybe go into the mineral line. I mean, they want to get the siege tank, but with that, the siege tank over here on the high ground, both of them. There's actually a third one right now too. They have been stacking up the kills. This is actually a phenomenal siege tank position over here. Apparently, it defends both this base as well as the one on the high ground. The minerals are running out. The Mutas, I mean, there's still 19 of them, 21 of them right now. But Armani is broke. He's got no more resources. He's like actually got like, he can't even produce, well, he can produce one set of Zerglings right now. Terran, I think he's done it. Oh my god. Terran has got 2 bases that they have just acquired. And there it is. Armani realizes the scenario that he's in. He knows that the Terran player would just be sitting back and maxing out once again, using those juicy mineral fields. And, well, Armani knows that he won't be able to stop that. Beautiful game right there by Dream. Beautiful game actually by Armani as well. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.